Hey, what's going on, everybody on YouTube? EXO coming at you here in the garage, about to get our hands dirty building some RC projects for out in the front yard. We've been having a grand old time hitting the DIY homemade jump that we made, so I figured I'd do number 2 on video and show you guys step-by-step process to build an RC car jump at home. Here's the one that I built already. This is my go-to launch ramp. This thing sends me 30, 40 feet that way and gets me really good air time. So if you want to learn how to build this style of ramp with a nice curve in it and avoid that jarring motion when hitting a flat ramp, this is the right video for you. To get this party started, we're gonna need to cut these side pieces out of some plywood. We'll be able to get those pieces out of this 11 ply birchwood right here. Now, in order to make a decent launch ramp, you gotta remember your ratios. That's how long your ramp is in relation to how high it is. This right here is an example of a 45-degree 2-to-1 ratio ramp. That will send you more far than it does high. Having it set up like this will make it easier on your parts when you finally do land because you're not coming straight down. So for the new ramp, we're gonna maintain our 2-to-1 ratio. We'll go up 16 inches for our jump height and go over 32 inches for our jump base. All right, sweet, we got our two 16 by 32s. Luckily that spare piece was already 32, so we just had to cut it right down the middle, and we are ready to get our curves. This is the part where it usually throws people for a loop. Now, the trick to the trade is a piece of junky old PVC. This is just laying around in the workshop, and what this does is it acts as almost like a little guide that flexes. So if you were to put an anchor point on both sides of the ends and then push this in, it creates a perfect little curve. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna anchor the top and anchor the bottom and then use this flexible rod for the center to get that perfect curve. So to get a nice even proportion, I'm gonna make the majority of the transition happen toward the bottom so the top of the ramp is more consistent with a 45-degree angle. All right, so that looks like a pretty decent curve right there. See if I can flip it up so you can see it just a little bit better. See how the majority of the transition is happening toward the base? That'll help keep a nice stable launch toward the top. And if you compare this curve to what we already have, she's matching up pretty darn well. So I think that gives us the A-OK to start cutting out the second jump's curves. Nice, couldn't be any better than that. And we'll use this same one as a copy on hopefully this one underneath. I can't believe it. Almost a perfect fit. I think that we'll be able to transpose this piece over here. Is it? Oh, look at that, just perfect. Nice, I love saving wood. The two pieces are fitting together just right. Couldn't ask for anything better, especially since this is just for bashing out in the front lawn. It doesn't need to be exact, but this is pretty damn close. So now, separating the two, we'll need to bridge the gap. We'll need to bridge the gap with some support braces. I'm just gonna use these cheap 1 1/4 inch fence posts from Home Depot. They're made out of pine, so it'll be nice and strong while still being lightweight. Our posts are all cut to size. Now we're ready to bridge the gap between our two side pieces. Now we're gonna have to just use these as kind of like our spacer, and we'll just individually screw them in. Now it's important that you put your first post in a spot that's not gonna hit once you put your ramp down. So you gotta push it in a little bit, and once it rises up past the height of the post, that's when you can screw it in. And then we'll go every 6 or 8 inches. Oh, heck yeah, guys, looking mighty fine. We've got the whole jump all framed out and ready for the laminate part next. That's what's gonna make it nice and smooth and able to be driven on. This cheap wood sheeting I also picked up from Home Depot. It has a lot of give to it, so we'll be able to curve it to the size of our jump. Since we put the post down flat with the curve of the wood, we can match up this segment right to it just like that. Put a little bit of pressure, put some smaller screws right into this. Don't countersink it too much because this stuff is pretty thin. You don't want to bore a hole directly through it. So let's go ahead and cut this to size so it fits right on top. Oh my God, I'm hurting. Oh God, what the? I know I should be practicing more safety with that stupid table saw. What's the verdict here? Oh, it's just that. That's not a big deal. All right, I'm gonna be a little safer with the table saw next time. Take a little step back and maybe not put my freaking kneecap in freaking harm's way. That was like direct hit. Oh my God. But at least we didn't mess up this cut. It was just the other piece that took the brunt of the damage. So this will be a keeper. Let's go ahead and move on to the next piece. Alrighty, and that makes 2. We got the left piece ready to be bent into place, and the other piece ready to be bent into place. And there we have it, a job well done. The jump is looking good. The screws did just the trick for putting the laminate down. No more high rises or weird noises. She is firm in there. Now, because sometimes I leave my jump outside and it starts to drizzle, and just because it's nice to have a little bit of extra protection on the outside, we are gonna go the extra mile with oil-based paint. But before we get too crazy, we're gonna wanna do some detail sanding just to address some of the areas, make it nice and smooth. And while I'm at it, I'm gonna do the same thing we did for this jump, which is this bottom brace, just to button things up a little bit more. And now, just for good measure, I'm gonna tip this over and fill up these crevices with wood glue. I was kind of in a hurry. I probably should have done that from the get-go, but as long as there's still wood on wood contact, this will make up the difference. Gravity will just slowly set that glue into this crack more and more. Coming at you situation here, after a nice dousing of wood glue on all those cracks, I did it on both sides, one after the other dried, so the top one kind of let the other glue settle down on top and just filled the whole cavity. We got most of the screws looking like this, which is fine and dandy, just a little bit countersunk. And then if you go over here, these ones just didn't quite make it. I know it's kind of unconventional, but I got these like 25-cent Harbor Freight specials. I'm gonna use the screwdriver tip and just round out this edge. Check it out. Oh. That should do just the trick for putting in this screw. Perfectly countersunk. Call me unconventional, but it works. Nice. There we go, moving right along. The screws are all countersunk. It was a little more than I thought, probably around like 8 or 9 of them were actually a little too high, so we brought them down. Now, obviously these are 2 pieces of wood and they were kind of flip-floppy down here at the bottom where there's no brace. So what we did is filled the entire void with sawdust and wood glue. So now if you move this right here, it's completely one unit. And I'll just lift it up really quickly. We have these little patches. I just did a layer of glue, shoved in so much sawdust, another layer of glue and patted that down, and it's basically just like a big strip, a caterpillar band-aid. So let's go ahead and get to killing and Rust-Oleuming our jump. Oh, gotta make it less wiggly on that one. Holy crap, talk about some frickin' devotion, guys. This is the 5th coat of oil-based paint. We're gonna start to put the transition on the bottom of the jump. There's just a tiny little 1/8 inch of a lip down here at the bottom, but to make that perfectly flush with the ground, we're gonna cut some of these pieces of sheet metal from Home Depot, real cheap. They come in pieces like this, and then cut this right down. There she is, guys, looking beautiful. We got that transition all in there with some Gorilla Tape on top of the sheet metal, save our fingers from getting cut while we put it in and out of the vehicles, and so we can kind of use it as a makeshift hinge to flip it up so it doesn't always stick out. So I'd say it's about that time to do the dirty deed. Take her outside, do some friggin' RC bashing, see how far we can get, and see how high we can get. Go ahead and show you guys how she handles it from the side here. Nice and stable. I'm gonna give the good old granite just a little bit of a break here. I had my girlfriend assisting me with driving so I could get what you just saw on film. So we're gonna call it quits for today. The jump is holding up real good, nice and stable, nice and level, even when we're on this weird, you know, unlevel ground. And as far as wear and tear so far, we just got some marks from the rubber, you know, scuffing up the paint, but that's what the 5 coats were for. So I'm feeling pretty good. She's weather resistant. She's definitely jump approved. And yeah, if this video, you know, was, you know, something that you were interested in, be sure to check out my second channel. I'm gonna be posting all my RC car stuff on there from now on. So go check that out if you wanna check out more of it. So until the next video, guys, this is EXO signing out. Just keep myself busy during all this freaking craziness in the world, right? I'll talk to you in the next time. Well, next video. It's EXO signing out.